without further ado, without any more stalling, let's get right down to it. And yeah, you can see the results there, guys, on speedrun.com. All the runs have actually been submitted there. Don't go there if you want spoilers, right? But, you know, if you don't want spoilers, because otherwise you will be spoiled immediately, which, you know, I mean, that's okay, I guess. But, you know, maybe you want this. I don't know. Maybe you want to know what the best time is. But, you know, you could also find out live. So, here we actually have the first one. We're going to be starting with Rata Sum. And coming in at third place is going to be, again, another familiar face. Actually, a tryhard raider. It is going to be Manigold, in fact, playing here, going for the, you know, the map completion, and even using a custom route to make sure it's done correctly here. And I think we're going to see a few different approaches with profession choice and also mount usage here as well. You can see here that all these things are being linked together by this overlay. I presume this was actually custom designed by the player there as well. Of course, a really key thing in speedrunning like this is actually developing your route, right? And trying to find the optimal thing. It's a bit of that kind of traveling salesman's problem. Very difficult to actually brute force, in fact. When you add loads of things, you can actually kind of try this. It's a very difficult problem in mathematics. Very hard to do this in an efficient way without brute forcing it. And adding loads of different nodes into play actually makes optimizing this sort of thing very, very important. But we already see excellent mount usage using the sky scale, the booster, and then the Griffin, now into the Raptor here as well. So getting a lot of, there's the bond of faith as well for the big leap through that portal. But there you go, right? Okay, but yeah. Fantastic. Taco isn't banned for this? Well, no, guys, it's no holds barred here. It looks like we actually do have loading screens disallowed. That actually makes sense, given that it can actually be a big deal depending on your different PC there. So it's actually going to be in-game time money. Dude, even going for the Choya, the true instance content strats coming out there with the Choya for the extra speed. You love to see that. You really do. And there we have going into the Snaps lab there. Here we go. We're going in big there. 1 minute on the clock so far. This is going to be around a 3-minute run there, not quite the sub 3. It's going to be the 3:01 right there. Yeah, the toy axe not in use here, but don't worry, guys. We're also going to see some very familiar faces from perhaps the PvE scene that may be abusing even harder. Now, I think the interesting choice here is to actually go with the Mesmer, right? You know, to me, it would seem obvious to almost go with the Thief, right? Because obviously, sometimes you want that immediate burst mobility that the Thief can provide. Of course, Mesmer does have access to blink, although this is also being done at a low level, so you don't have access to all of your abilities here at the same time, right? But there you go. Let's now go ahead and continue here as we get to the next descending point. Oh, and even going for the glide, okay, grabbing the Vista by gliding down through this territory. It's really interesting to see the way Rata Sum is actually structured, right? It is a bit of this multi-layered, multi-tiered object that does allow you to come up with some really interesting pathing, right? And this is really, really complicated, right? You got to think about this, guys, right? There's so much weird stuff you can do here, but you can go between the two levels. You could mount up, you could mount down, you could glide between all of them. Ooh, now this is an item you're going to be seeing a lot of, 100%, the prototype position rewinder. And this is honestly some of the really interesting things actually about the open world, right? The open world is completely unchained. You can use any kind of consumable, any kind of item that will allow you to very quickly get a bit of a bonus, right? You could do White Mantle Portal, you can use your position rewinder, which is kind of the same thing in a way, right? All of the outfits to go a little bit faster, all the mounts, of course, are unchained here as well. Ooh, precision jumping. Ooh, lands it there as well. That could definitely get a little bit slippery for sure. You could fall off that pretty easily. I think, yo, eyes are there with the raid. I appreciate that, man. Let's go. Also, Artio in the chat there. Hello, how are you doing? Good. And here we go. We're actually coming up to the final switch right now. Just 92% completion. One more thing, I believe. One more POI, and that might actually just about do it. And another waypoint. I think here is going to be the final thing, and there it is, a 3:01. Exactly, they're getting that loot. And look, there you go. Free transmutation charge for completing that city. What a run. Not quite getting it to the sub 3, but fortunately, okay, we actually do have one that is going to immediately, okay, take that prize. It's going to be from Torin here, actually, with a 250 run. Let's see if this is actually going to be different, if it's going to be a custom route or a similar one to Manigault here. So we actually, again, see this similar approach using the inbuilt path. And if you think about it, it makes sense. People are memeing about the taco usage, guys, and all that sort of stuff. But think about it, right? Like, this is just a guide to make sure that you don't actually go off the path. And again, it's going to be the sky scale, a very similar approach to what we saw previously, and this actually may be the same route, but with perhaps slightly more optimized mount usage, going for the Jackal over the Raptor. And this is actually something that I think it does make a lot of sense, right? The Jackal is very bursty with the way it can move, right? All these teleportations it has access to. Very useful. Again, going into this Griffin segment here as well, utilizing that massive speed boost you can get there, then climbing back up there and going around here as well very quickly. And there we go, getting a full smooth transition down to this Vista. Very, very nice there. Good control of that mount. It is going to be a Thief this time. You know, as we see, we haven't really seen a lot of profession skills being used. It has been pretty much mount chaining. We see the Shadow Step there, of course, on the Thief for a lot of speed, actually, there as well. But now we just go into this applied logistics, and there's the Shadow Step there for a bit of extra burst mobility. Of course, this is the home instance. This is where the Thief can definitely provide value, because you are going to have that short bow 5 for a lot of speed, instantly grabbing that waypoint and then teleporting out instantaneously there, going into the next mount segment. So yeah, of course, in that instance, guys, you are not allowed to use mounts, because it doesn't really count as the open world, and it's kind of a core tier thing where, you know, in the same way that if you look at you know, old raids, for example, you can't use mounts there because that's just the way they are. And I think this is where the Thief is actually going to generate a bit of value here, because in these segments where you don't have access to the mounts, that's where that short bow 5 and Shadow Step can really come into its own. Of course, the Mesmer had that too, and here comes the Beetle. And look, there's a bit of Beetle expertise being used, because indeed, yes, Torin is a member of the Beetle racing community. Very, very speedy indeed, collecting up all of these checkpoints very quickly, getting in this instance and getting out. And look, you can see how many how many loading screens there are here, which is probably what kind of mandates this this requirement that it isn't going to be loading screen bound there as well. But just very smooth. You can see that there's almost no gaps in movement here. And look, you can see that the route is recommending the Jackal, but no, Torin disregards the Raptor and goes for the Beetle and the Jackal instead. Ooh, it's going to be a big drift. Ooh, yeah. Kind of didn't really go super well there, I don't think. But still not too bad. Gets a good recovery here. We're kind of getting towards the end of the run right now. Just a few more things need to be captured here as well. You can see that the Beetle's slight difficulty with handling these turns, maybe not quite working out so well. The nimble Jackal perhaps providing a slightly better option here. Gets the glide down here, back onto the Raptor for some leaping strikes towards the final segment here. We're getting up to that very quickly now. It's 80% completion done very shortly. Here's another waypoint being grabbed here as well. Any giant Jackal leaps. Yeah, that's a technique we actually haven't seen so far yet. There hasn't really been like a really big open space for that. But yeah, the Jackal leap is actually a really interesting thing that we're going to see soon. Basically, it's a technique that uses Bond of Faith combined with the Jackal to leap an incredible distance and kind of give yourself a massive catapult boost worth the speed. And here we go. Now we're on the final stretch. It's going to be a Beetle to the end here, I believe, from Torin. And there we go. There's the final POI. Going to Thief and Raptor to it, and then boom. There it is, a 250 run. Okay, a 250 run right there from Torin. But that, if you can believe it, there is still improvement to be made. And what an improvement it is. You had better get used to seeing this individual, chat, because this is a member of, oh my gosh, Virtual Squirrels. The French have arrived. It is going to be, okay, White Warrant here with a ridiculous run, okay? 219 run here, okay? I'm just going to say it. That is annihilation. And I believe we may see, look, it's raw. It's completely uncooked here. No guide this time. The training wheels are completely off, my friends. It's all out speed here. Again, going for that Thief, which will be very useful in these instances that we did see utilized previously. It's going to be Raptor This time here again, you can see the same style of griffin pathing going on here, but things are going to have to start deviating soon. I imagine that this simply must be some kind of extra route optimization that's going to happen here, because this is a 30-second time save over the previous player. So I think we will see a more efficient route potentially here, or simply unbelievably good execution. Because that will be some insane mount control here as well. Okay, 219 for map completion. Look, you can start farming that real quick, guys. That's going to be some serious speed there, right? That was big. And that was a very clean... You can see that kind of twitch movement going through there, maintaining that ultra-high velocity the entire time on the Griffin. There are so many subtleties that it will be very difficult to point out the entire time, honestly, in these runs. The thing is, I'm a pleb, right? Okay, there's a lot going on here, right? You know, there really is a lot to these mounts. The mounts are incredibly fleshed out, actually, with the way they operate. Very fleshed out indeed, in fact. With the way they control and all these little nuances, particularly the more kind of fun mounts, right? There's the Boniface, they're getting up to that immediately. Going into the council room there as well. Here we go, gets the POI, immediately leaves still on 114. We basically have a minute to go right now. What's the fastest without mounts? Well, I mean, that's just going to be like a very, very long foot race. Still does appear to be a very, very similar route here. Simple optimization making up a lot of that time, and just superior mount control there. Going for the waypoint there as well. All over here already. Going for the Raptor. Instantaneously unlocking all of these things in the little kind of chambers on the side. The magic snow. Hiding the POI waypoints again. And I think this is where we're seeing a little bit of value here. Dropping down on the Jackal, going for the portal over here too. Unlocking the remainder of these waypoints there before. Going for the final push, almost immediately climbing up there to the Vista. There's the Vista. It has been secured. And here we go. We're getting towards the end very, very shortly. Just needs to go for this leap to the Vista. There it is. Another Bond of Faith being used. The mount skills being utilized very effectively. Here's the Sky Scale now, actually. Slightly different approach. They're mounting up. What are we going to see here from this player? What's it going to be? It's going to be a Raptor to the finish line by the looks of that, actually. Here we go. 8 seconds to go. So a similar route, but just very, very optimized. And yeah, the waypoint usage there, I think, was extremely effective, of course, by that. And then finishing it off with a port through the terrain for slightly more efficient pathing that was missed a little bit earlier on there. Wow, what a run. Very well deserved to get the job done there. And, you know, if you think about it, this makes a lot of sense, right? What are VS known for? That's right. They're very well known for having a very, very good Twisted Castle and a very, very good escort run in Wing 3. Oh, an error occurred. Wow, thanks. Okay, never mind. But here you have it. You now have that also being demonstrated in the open world there as well. Exactly. Courtier pathing Nabbash. Yeah, a little bit unusual, but what a run. 219. Kind of crushing the competition there. With a slightly different route, still using some of the key components with that initial Sky Scale section, the Griffin segment there as well, but quickly diverging and utilizing those waypoints without the loading screen, of course, and even if there was, it would get deducted anyway, or rather not counted, to really optimize that pathing and take it to the next level. Of course, teleportation is better than even mounts, right? And that's where a lot of the time save came from, was that waypoint usage. So, never underestimate it, guys. You know, the Taco did not, was not respecting the waypoints. And hey, the route needs to be updated now, I guess. But that's the first city. Congratulations to our winner, White Warrior, Torin, okay, and Manigold there. And now let's move on to the next map. And, you know, bizarrely enough, this is one that I actually would have expected to be slower than Rata Sum, but it isn't. It's actually going to be the Grove up next, and it's going to be faster. We can see here that we're going to be opening our third place, right? Okay, third place. It's going to be a 2:26 run, actually, to actually deal with this stuff here. So what is going on here, actually? That was a little bit of a flib right at the start, I believe. Kind of missed that Vista. But the run does continue regardless, going for a lot of Griffin play here, of course. Very good at kind of maintaining its momentum in a good straight line. Of course, we see this player simply moving around, grabbing these waypoints. I think we might see... maybe we actually don't see waypoint usage here, actually. Like, waypoint usage might not be efficient because you actually kind of do break the Grove down into multiple layers a lot of the time, actually. fairly frequently, which actually could indeed be kind of like the downfall of the Waymo. Ooh, a little bit of a scuff turn there as well, but still keeping up some good pace. There'll be a Vista grab. I think then we start to see this player descend. I think the pathing here maybe not quite optimized. A little bit of backtracking going on. Somewhat inevitable, of course, with any of these things. Now we descend to this next layer with all the crafting stations and stuff, griffining up yet again, because that vertical momentum and just like ability to move in a straight line and maintain speed, very, very good here from the Griffin. You can see the player deftly using the kind of the dive functionality here to keep that speed going for a good amount of time. That's going to be some Jackal gameplay here as well. Going for that speed, we can already see we're over 50% through this map as well, despite a few little mistakes early on here. 1:30 on the clock right now. Sky scaled up here as well. Going to descend there to the depths. Surprised not to see the Griffin there, but maybe not quite worth the time. There's this another Vista being grabbed, going through all of the snow. The eyes being blinded there. There's the Garlic House. Garlic House has now been claimed. Just flying through the kind of the lower area of the grove right now, getting towards the end of the run, 75% completed. Just basically doing a full loop almost of all of this terrain. So what's happening here? Another Vista and a few more things need to be grabbed, then this run will end. Ooh, kind of bonking a little bit there. The Sky Scale can be a little bit antsy with that, actually. It will kind of latch onto terrain with a pretty generous hitbox there, so you have to be very careful of dealing with that, that's for sure. But I think we're going to see this be grabbed here. That will be the last, second to last point of interest, I believe. One more, and then going to the center for the Vista is about what's to happen here. There it is. There's the Vista. I think that is just about going to almost end the entire run. One more object needs to be grabbed. It's a waypoint. Here we go, and there it is. 226. Wow. Pretty high octane run there. Very different to Rata Sum, right? A lot of this verticality being managed by this individual. Benevolent Sphinx comes in clutch there and actually secures the third place set out there. Definitely an interesting route. I think the upper route was pretty unusual. Maybe not quite. I think we will see a slightly different approach from a lot of these different players, although I think the same broad idea will continue. Going for one layer, kind of doing a circle on all of them, then descending, circle, descend, but let's see if I'm about to be proven wrong, because next up we actually have another run, and well, this is a pretty big improvement. We actually have a 157 coming out here from, okay, this individual here. It's going to be Rakio. Okay, I don't know, some kind of weeb name or something maybe. Here we go. Sky scaling up immediately. Vista being grabbed instantaneously. That double boost from the Sky Scale. Very handy for that burst movement. Griffin activating, and then it's going to be the Beetle here. Yeah, and I think this might be a fairly commonplace thing to see in the kind of like these very fast runs here. Using the Beetle, because there is actually a good amount of kind of wide open space in the grove, kind of these winding lanes where you can kind of lean into it pretty effectively. Very nice there as well. And yeah, you can always tell when people know what they're doing with the Griffin, because they're able to do these little twitch dives to just ever so slightly adjust their vertical positioning, right? And keep that momentum and just be right on the edge, like these little mini dives. Very efficient. And yeah, we see that layer being completed and then directly down to the second one. Yeah, getting a big wide drift. Look at that. This is basically like a Beetle racetrack going for the drift all through the house. Yeah, there's a lot of objects to watch out for bonking here, but they aren't actually getting bonked right now. This is good. Oh, this is going to be a fun drift around this corner. There it is, descending to this lower level now, and we're nearly at the end already. That was one hell of a blitz in that middle level. Sky scaling up there. That is wicked steer right there. That's a big wicked steer moment for sure. Very impressive from this individual, actually. And now we're basically done, actually. Like, you know, we're on this bottom floor, and it's simply a case of going for a full lap around here. Oh, it looks like those, I presume those things actually have collision, hence the Sky Scale over those. There's all using that gaining momentum there. This is kind of the difference between the Griffin and the Sky Scale. The Griffin can't really gain height, but it can maintain its height very well, and it's obviously faster than the Sky Scale. The Sky Scale's advantage is that it can go up, right? You can climb, right? So a similar route. I think the really big difference here is just better use of the Beetle. Oh, there's the Jackal leap there as well to finish her on the waypoint there, but actually going for the Vista last, in fact, grabbing that waypoint and then Sky scaling up. Oh, that hesitation there towards that Vista, that was actually, that might be a pretty brutal hesitation, because you guys might think that was a hot run, but listen, things get serious. Things get competitive here in the city map completion contest. That's right, gamers. Okay, the squirrels are back, and yes, winning another category. It's going to be White Warrior here. Here he is. He initiates. And it's going to be a totally different approach, I believe. Instead of going for that Vista immediately with the Sky Scale, launches directly for the Beetle. And wow, this is actually like nothing we've seen before. A totally different run and routing here. Going to be using those waypoints once again, just like we saw on Rata Sum. Two abusers going for the Sky Scale now, and we'll probably climb up again, I believe. Are we going to see another Sky Scale up top? No. First going to grab these point of interests, I believe, first off there as well. But these are very custom routes being developed here by the virtual squirrel. Here's the Vista being sniped, and now we're going to climb up to the top. There's another Vista over there, and of course these POIs up top here as well, now being collected here by the gamer using the thief mobility with slight hesitation there, but this is going to be a 155 run. Oh yeah, so 2 seconds separates these players. But it's very interesting actually how both players chose a different route. This is completely different, by the way, nothing like we've seen before. Already on this bottom layer, completing that. Or is it going to be in one go with the Griffin, favoring the Griffin over the Beetle for us, abusing the fact there's a lot of airspace here. Look at all this airspace that the Griffin is just fantastic for traversing. Still using that thief mobility. They're all grabbing the POI by the home instance too. Moving on very, very quickly. I think we're going to see some more waypoint action, I believe, in a little bit here to kind of really claim this territory. There's the Vista up top, but wow, honestly, I'm completely lost. This is I would love to see the path for this route. It is absolutely insane. It's just everywhere. There's the waypoint up top. There it is. Into the instance. Here we go. And there it is, collecting all these things over here. There's one thing next to the generators, and then immediately leaving, still on 137, 20 seconds left in this one. Another waypoint usage. Yeah, this is certainly a lot of things. Almost looks a lot of dungeon expertise coming in. I think it's no coincidence that the White Warrior here is actually able to use these waypoints. Very comfortable using this type of technology, because this is obviously something that you see in dungeons, right, with waypoints appearing, and boom, there you go. Getting the Vista that people actually got first in second and third, we actually see getting picked up last, actually ending it, like ending at the top instead of the bottom. Wow, I've got to say, that is remarkable. What an absolutely remarkable run here. Completely innovating a new route with a 155. I know you're going to have to be a bigger brain than me to actually analyze what went on there. That must have been some serious big brain thinking to come up with that, because that was absolutely different. Very well deserved victory with a 155.7 run. Yeah, that is the victor here again, taking a second. That is a 2-win, a double win for Virtual Squirrels. First taking Rata Sum, and now taking the Grove as well. Well, as I'm sure you're aware, there are still a few more maps available. So let's see if anyone can defeat VS. It's not going to be easy. It really, really isn't. Can anyone stop Virtual Squirrels? Because, oh yes, White Warrior entered every single map. That's right, gamers. That is right. But this one could be very interesting. I think, I hope we see some different routes so we're kept in suspense, because now it's going to be Lion's Arch. Okay, this is actually going to be the longest of all of the runs, because it is a very big city, a huge amount of POIs, 13 waypoints, 26 points of interest, 11 vistas, a huge amount of map exploration to actually be completed here by these players. So plenty of optimization to be had, and we're going to be opening up with Torrin in third place. Skipping the cutscene, and it is going to be a taco-based route using that overlay to at least provide some guidance. Let's see how this goes. It's going to be again with the Thief being used here. I think here I would expect to see a lot of Beetle use. I think actually. Oh, hello. YouTube? Any YouTube videos? Oh, thank you. Okay. I think I'm expecting a lot of Beetle gameplay here, simply because it is just such a big area, right? And the Beetle is fantastic at kind of doing these long stretches. Why is that? Wait, quality? What the fuck? Give me 1080p. Thank you. There we are. But yeah, and this is where Torren's expertise handling this beetle is really going to come in handy. Of course, a lot of the players here that you will see are used to speedrunning in one form or another. That may well be beetles, that may be dungeons or raids or that sort of thing. So let's see what kind of expertise is here. Ooh, look at that beetle leap. Ooh, bit of a collision there, actually, but is able to recover it very quickly by turning onto the jackal. You can see that it is really important to actually have your mounts hotkeyed here. We see the player very efficiently using these mounts instantaneously instead of delaying, having to select them all manually. Like, this is honestly a great demonstration on why that you shouldn't skill click, right? You can see that these players are able to seamlessly transition between different segments of the run. First time we see the skimmer there, by the way, very efficiently by using these hotkeys to swap almost instantaneously, having that small global cooldown between mounts. And here's going to be another beetle really opening up that speed. But you can see actually how much swapping is actually required to do this efficiently. Like, the players are not really getting the opportunity to actually use one mount for a long period of time here. Now we're going to see a bit of a long stretch here on the beetle. Bit of a collision there, but actually the drift does carry that momentum very effectively. Now down towards the erotic roleplay wedding zone over here too, but actually disregarding the route there a little bit just to get some momentum on the griffin to continue that. And yeah, look at that. You can see the wind, the air currents around the griffin. That indicates that the speed is here. Well, that's going to be some tight navigation there. No, does actually dismount there. Going for some thief movement here. Just a little bit of basic ground survey. Going towards the jumping puzzle here. Towards this location. Here comes the short bow 5. There we go. Oh, and we're going to see a little bit of kind of port abuse there to get up to this piece of terrain instead of walking around there. Nice, good use of that thief, the blink. Of course, Mesmer could do something like that, but of course, thief just far superior for using that. No, it's not. No, guys, we're not watching. Look. Do you guys know how dead my voice would be if I was doing a 100% map completion, like goddamn full commentary? As funny as that would be, and honestly, I think that would actually be really cool. I would love it if someone actually did like a live 100% map completion run with full commentary, talking about how to do all the hearts, right, and all that stuff. I think that would be really interesting to hear all the little techniques and like min-maxes that you do during a run of that length. You know, all the, oh, this heart, you want to go here and kill these mobs and pick up these objects for that reason. Oh yeah, here we're going to do this first for this reason, right? And we're going to climb up here in this particular way, and we're going to use all the mount tech. That would be fun, but I mean, that would also be exhausting, right? Because I mean, it takes a while, guys, you know, to do that. And this makes a lot of sense because, of course, guys, LA has a lot of underwater stuff. Okay, underwater content is fully enabled, right? Take a look, and this is where the skimmer comes in. You know, I wonder if the siege turtle might actually be relevant in runs like this in the future, actually, because, of course, the siege turtle also has the ability to go underwater and use those jump jets. I think it's not quite as fast as the skimmer, though, so maybe not, but yeah, getting value out of that dive functionality that was added to the skimmer with a recent master there. Yes. That's right. That's right, gamers. The skimmer has a mastery that you can unlock. It was actually one added post-game. Oh, look at these blinks! Look at that thief short bow 5. You love to see that there. Teleporting up all the little things there very effectively. Oh, and yeah, the griffin is going to be fantastic here. Great for getting those, getting some insane momentum off those really high objectives. Waypoint, look, they're getting the double there, and yeah, look at that, being handled very nicely. We'll probably transition to the skimmer. No, it's going to be a waypoint here, I believe. Yep, going to waypoint directly back after that. No need for the skimmer in that particular situation. Here's the beetle. Still a bit to go. The run is not over. We've got a minute left on the clock. You can see it's a fat run indeed. But yeah, some big skips here. Fantastic griffin speed boosting. Oh, here comes the drift. Oh, we need the speedometer here as well for the beetle, right? So you can see that into the Scrit Cave. Man, LA, you know, you say what you like about new LA, but there are some really interesting little secret segments, right, that the game actually has attached to there. You've got the jumping puzzle there that kind of goes through the city and all the little crevices and caves that are about the place. Pretty cool zone, actually, there. But here we go. Coming up to the final stretch. Looks like it's going to finish kind of in the depths of the city, going towards the Laurel Vendor. Oh, look, this is going to be some fun drifting, going through all of the streets combined all at the same time. Going to be maintaining the momentum here on the beetle. Grabs that POI, just actually snags it there. Nearly missed there. Oh, a slight bonk happening too. Oh, yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake there, actually, or maybe something that didn't quite work out as planned. Not having had to mount up onto the sky scale to climb up there to grab that POI. Definitely costing a few seconds, but in a run of this length, A few seconds, definitely affordable. It's going to be very hard to do a perfect run in something that is 5 minutes long with a lot of precision control required to fully get the potential of these mounts. Here we go, the last POI. And there we go. 5:18:93. That is the benchmark. And leveling up to 12 there as well, grabbing that transitation charge. And of course, some experience for this character. Wow. Incredible stuff. Incredible gaming there from Torin. But that was the third place run. That means there is more. And yes, there is indeed more. Here we go. Familiar face for a lot of individuals who are familiar with the racing scene. And actually even the GVG and World vs. World scene. Okay, truly a man of many talents. Next up with a 5:12 is going to be Garfried. The Beetle League racing team is here, the Race Guild. Let's see, so I presume because the time differential is indeed very low here, just a 6-second run, I think we're going to be seeing a very similar approach from Garfried with just slightly more optimized movement here. Slightly better across the board, grabbing those extra 6 seconds throughout the entirety of the run. Yeah, certainly, this is definitely a very wicked steer map. I think this is going to be the one where, well, actually, having said that, I have a feeling that the Beetle is going to be really good in Hoelbrak, actually, too. Because Hoelbrak actually even has a Beetle racing course on it, so I suspect that we will see a lot of... I was going to say that this is going to be a really Beetle-favored map, but actually, I think we're going to see some really fun stuff there. You know what's going to be really spicy? Is Black Citadel. I'm really intrigued, one, on how the races are going to approach that, simply from a mount usage level, but from a pathing level as well, you know. That's going to be really interesting to see people pull that off, because that place is honestly a bit of a maze. I remember doing map completion for the first time on the Black Citadel. I was like, dude, how do I even get to these places, right? Yeah, exactly, Garfried, right? The Black Citadel, it's a bit bumpy, right? It's a bit spiky. Not easy to optimize that with the way you can use mounts because of all the things. So I think that will be really interesting to see, like, how players manage to handle that in this sort of situation, right? Yeah, time is indeed money. You're absolutely right. Okay, that is true. The overlay gameplay, well, it just makes sense. I mean, one, you've got the, you got the speedometer here. There's which is a lot of fun there with the Griffin, kind of a really cool overlay there. But think about it, guys, right? You want to have these, you want to be able to actually reproduce this reliably, right? You want to be able to remember where you're going. Like a really good example of this was actually, particularly on runs that you might be new to or, like don't really want to think about. The last thing you want to be doing while you're doing a speed run is thinking about where you're going. You want to be entirely focused on execution. That is extremely important, right? To focus on execution. I think a really good example of this was actually like the guys who speedrun leveled to 1 to 60 in WoW Classic. They all used quest guides to tell them what quest to do so they could entirely focus on actually executing the gameplay and basically like not messing it up. That's the exact same principle here. Speedrunning is not, it's not about honor, guys, okay? Speedrunning is about winning, right? Speedrunning, okay, is about getting the job done as fast as possible. You use every single advantage, every glitch, every bug, every possible advantage you can, every quirk of the game's, slightly unusual mechanics. So, yeah, and that's a really interesting technique there. Can you see what happened there, guys? This is just kind of a fun thing as well, right, actually, with the way the Beetle works. You'll see this a lot with the Beetle races in particular, but, well, in any kind of Beetle race. The Beetle is really unusual. There are actually a few ways to break the speed limit, and what you saw there was one of them, kind of this, like, sideways drift while you're in the air, allows you to go really, really fast. You can actually build up even more speed than that if it's allowed to continue there as well. So yeah, you can really use that to get to the tiny edge over like the usual very high speed of the Beetle. So let's see. I presume we are going to see a thing, but no, it's going to be the Springer actually. From Garfried. Ooh, into the buffet. Then it's going to be the ports up there as well. Here comes the thief port. Boom, boom, boom. Up, 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 up. There we go. And it's going to be a Springer to finish the job. Okay, and then we're going to go on to this next segment here, presumably with, once again, that Griffin. Here we go. Yep, Griffin now activated there. Look at the speed, breaking the speed limit there, the 105 units per second, or whatever that actually is. Okay, big speed indeed. I think, well, it's not even that. I think it's a percentage, basically, actually, because units in Guild Wars 2 are actually inches, funnily enough. So basically, when you look at, say, the 400 per second out of combat speed, right, when you're running in the game, that's 400 inches per second, which is a little bit unusual, but hey, that's how it goes. In any case, beetling around here as well, building up all of that momentum, going up top here towards the script gate. Yeah, I mean, inches per second, right? Unusual, but that's how it goes, right? I mean, hey, I think it makes sense, though, because they wanted to give, like, a range unit that made sense, right? I feel like 500 range is a bit more kind of relatable than, I don't know, like, 10, like, I don't know, like 3 meters or whatever. Like, that sort of thing. It kind of makes a bit more sense. But there you go. And now we're coming up to the final stretch here, going into the DBS. This has just been a cleaner overall execution of the same route that we saw from our previous contender. You might be able to guess who's up next, gamers, and, well, we'll see if we do see a similar image. Yeah, I think a really big moment there. Yeah, Garfield actually is able to snag that POI a little bit easier. There gets a cleaner execution there and saves a good amount of time there by grabbing that effectively, and then we'll simply round out the run towards the end over here. Griffin's up, and we'll Zerg towards the end here. Well, yeah, I guess you could do centimeters, right? Yeah, not meters, yeah. No, it doesn't really matter, let's be honest. Here we go, POI unlocked, and here we go. The final stretches here, the skimmer zerging towards the finish line, and boom! There it is, a 5-12. Snagging that second place, defeating, okay, the comrade in arms. That is, of course, Torin from the Beetle Gaming, but those are both 5-minute runs. You know what isn't a 5-minute run? A 4-minute one. That's right. The reign of terror of the Frenchman continues. Okay, he is back again. Okay, White Warrior here with a 4:57 run, and I believe we may see a little bit of custom routing, although this is actually very, it's very close, actually, with these individuals, right? Like, all these times are basically within 20 seconds, so it might just come down to extremely clean execution, but no, that is not going to be the case. We immediately see a deviation from the path here, there as well. Fully custom approach here from the Virtual Squirrels player there, beetling up, backtracking a little bit, and we'll now go for a Zerg. Honestly, it feels like a bit of a slower start, but I imagine what this makes up for and kind of not getting that initial momentum, this routing is going to make up for in overall efficiency, and that's where those extra 20 seconds are going to come from here there as well. No overlay. Yeah, he doesn't mess around, guys. He does not mess around whatsoever. Huge content, okay? Huge content indeed. But anyway, here we go. Going for this Vista here. But yes, we just see this slightly... And yes, waypoint usage coming in a lot earlier here for this individual. This pathing is so curious. A lot of the runs we saw previously kind of go for a really wide... They, like, sweep the map, right? It's sweeping the map out there as well. But this time it's much more of a scalpel, pinpoint approach to actually unlocking all these things there. Going for the beetle, they're charging forwards, they're grabbing this waypoint, and I think we might actually see this waypoint being used later on. No, now we're going to go over to the right-hand side of the map, the eastern side, grabbing the stuff over there as well. It's going to be exciting stuff, it really is. No overlay. Overlays should not be allowed. I think they're fine. I mean, look, the thing is, the overlay doesn't necessarily get recorded. For example, if you use game capture on OBS, it's entirely possible, actually, that Warren here actually made a custom route and is actually using this as a guide. Because bear in mind, look, this is not something you do first try, believe me. This was a fairly short-term competition, so you can't just do, like, mega grinding, right? You're not going to be grinding for months but doing this stuff. But there was certainly a high degree of practice for these players. Ooh, a slight bonk there, but does manage to get up the skill, and then waypoints back. This is almost the trademark of this player here, really getting value out of these teleportations to push this to the limit. Now going to the jumping puzzle section here. We're going to see some thief shenanigans very, very shortly. Ooh, yeah, no, slipping on the train a little bit. So more room for improvement either. Just maybe a little bit of time. Here's the port coming through there. There's the first port. Going up to the Vista, grabbing that very quickly. There it is. And then the waypoint back towards the central area, going for the speed. Yeah. I did it first try. Easy first try. Beetle probably into the skimmer here. There we go. Here's the skimmer. Boom. Learning those new skills for underwater combat. picking the level rewards like that is, it's a relaxing, chilled run. And we almost see this the exact same thing happen again, going for some of the things that we saw picked up later by other players being picked up fairly early on in this particular route. Now it's going to be Lighthouse, and you can kind of see it coming together. Now look at the mini-map, right? Like all of the things left to unlock are towards that the northwest of the map, and that's what's going to get cleaned up here. We're going to see a climb here. It's going to be Springer into the Thief Ports here, something we're very soon. Yep, there is the Bond of Faith into the ports, climbing up very, very quickly. Showers up into, of course, that shortbow fire, the infantry shot, into another Springer. Then we're going to see Griffin action once again. Can't see the minimap because of the chat. Well, look, you can pretend, okay? You can pretend. No Beetle here. Warper spin. The Beetle is optional. The only thing you need is that Griffin, and I think that's, you know, I think that's no surprise, right? Because of course the Beetle is very fast, right? But if you think about it logically, the Beetle is great, but the Griffin gives you that control over the third axis, right? Over the Z axis, and being able to control your position very efficiently in all 3 dimensions is going to be unbelievably important when you're dealing with a full map completion speedrun, which is exactly what we see here, right? These maps are vertical. They have that verticality to them, and that's where the Griffin can really shine. And it just goes ridiculously fast as well. It really is fast. And of course, you have that efficiency of having to, you kind of going in a, you know, think about it, right? You can go in a straight line, right? Instead of having to kind of go, you know, across then up, right? Or then down then up, right? The Griffin skips that by going, you know, along the hypotenuse of the triangle, right, guys? Like at the speed. But, yeah, we do... Oh, that was a nice drift there. Look at that. That was kind of what I was hoping to see in LA, actually. Getting that very clean mount usage there. Grabbing that POI. Sky scaling up. We actually do still have the endurance refill. Are we going to see it? No, it's going to be the Bond of Faith there to leap off. And then Sky scale or the Griffin again towards the finale. I think we just need a waypoint and a little bit more than this. And we are actually done. Okay, 3 more POIs to unlock. I think... Do we actually finish in the same place here for once? Or maybe actually... Oh, yeah, I think we are going to get the final POI is going to be the same one again, diving down with the skimmer and ending it there on a 4:57, the sub 5 run. Wow. And yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? Just think about it, like using, this is why all of these, you know, kind of really interesting techniques that you see these players used, and you're not necessarily going to be doing this like in your day-to-day gameplay, right? Maybe a little bit too sweaty for that unless you're really, really into it. But these kind of techniques can absolutely increase the efficiency of your gameplay. A lot of you guys probably make legendaries, right? A lot of you are, you know, doing map completion in HOT and Path of Fire to unlock these Gen 2s. You're going to have to do it in AOD for Gen 3s. Like, learning a few of these techniques can really help you, actually, with just slightly increasing the overall efficiency of your gameplay and pushing it a little bit there when it comes to moving around the map, keeping up with meta trains, right? Completing these maps, getting all these rewards very efficiently, right? And just thinking about your pathing will overall make you a better player. Very important stuff, actually. So it's interesting to see all these techniques being showcased. It really, really is. Okay, so that is that city done and dusted. Congratulations to all of those players. Of course, there are other runs that you can go and check out on speedrun.com. We are just showing the top 3 here, guys, to make sure that we aren't here all day, because now we are going to Divinity's Reach. Now, I think there's a lot of opportunity for pathing here. A lot of stuff going on here. And opening it up, it is going to be Garfried here. So expect some Beetle gameplay here. Let's take a look at what we actually have going down. Here we go. Once again with that speedometer and loading in, ready to rock and roll. So the interesting thing about this city is entirely circular, right? Ah, this does make sense. So we're actually starting in the center, right next to the portal, and then we're going to kind of spiral out from here. There are a few interesting levels to this city with like a few little portals and getting up to little nooks and crannies in this zone. So I think it's going to be curious to see how this route actually handles dealing with that. Yes, you have to go into the really nice piece of artwork here, actually, by the way. This image of the Seraph can immediately leave because you get the waypoint immediately, or rather the POI instantaneously. Have to do the same thing here for the Queen's Throne room here. Again, using the Thief, might see some infiltrator shots, but no, not necessary. It gets immediately unlocked there. Loading screen gaming kicking in for sure right now. One more POI here. Then we're going to start spiraling out to the exterior. So I imagine what this run is going to do is almost kind of do a bit of a circular run, kind of weaving through all the little streets, unlocking everything as you go, just kind of rotating around the whole disc. Now, the question is will anyone actually try and innovate that route? Like, that seems to be the most logical thing to do, from my opinion, but being the most logical might not necessarily be the fastest here. And actually, it does look like this isn't going to be exactly what you see. It's going to be a little bit like this, grabbing this POI, then it's going to be a nice long beetle run back towards the other side of the city. Here we go, beetling up. Big speed. Yes, the portal from LA, that's correct. So you can chain the last run into this run. Oh, yeah, and these kind of long segments get some good beetle moments in here too. Of course, you are going to want to climb over instead of going the long way around then. Once again, we see that usage of the skyscraper to quickly gain some verticality. Oh, there's going to be a big drift there. Ooh, very tight corner there to handle. Bit of a bonk, but the boost gets the speed going again immediately. Here comes the round turn there. Yeah, nicely handled there by Garfried. Now he's going to go for the Springer, but actually, no. Defies the guy, grabs that Vista. Oh, yeah. This is, I think, okay, that thing there is so annoying, okay? I'm glad I'm not the only one who gets trolled by that so hard, right? The Skyscale has this tendency to get really grabby when you're dealing with, like, little platforms in particular. It's quite hard to land on small platforms that kind of correctly compute that really effectively. And, I think basically every runner has had a little bit of a run-in with this. Ooh, nice port back. There from Garfried there, immediately chaining that together, just getting that tiny little optimization. Here's the beetle drift all the way around there. Are we going to see a launch into the Griffin? No, going to go straight down and then back up again. I'm going to say, this almost looks like a beetle track, right? You know, it's a shame that, well, you go for the multi-mount here, of course, but definitely looks like a lot of fun, right? You can see them just zooming around the streets, they're taking these turns, all that sort of thing. Fantastic. Yeah, should be getting the orphans at the same time, right? Go for, like, the multi-purpose run. You know, you got to do orphan percent. I want to see DR orphan percent. Map completion runs. That's going to be a new category on speedrun.com, you know? It's going to be good content. Yeah, the Skyscale really, like, latches here quite effectively, making some of those vistas a little bit annoying. There's the waypoint back over there to basically get up to this kind of middle layer again, so you can continue going around, because there's a lot here. You can see that a lot of the POIs, they're kind of spread out radially, right? You can see the pathing here. You kind of go out, then in, out, then in. This kind of ebb and flow of movement between the center of the map and also the exterior of the map here, and balancing that is certainly where the waypoints come in handy. Now, I'm curious if we're going to see players actually go for the waypoints really early to really abuse that teleportation capability and pushing that to the limit. It's going to be another Skyscale here to gain that height again, yeah. And this is a Skyscale that's particularly good when you need to go like a short distance, because it has that double dodge. You have that endurance, you can double dodge very quickly, and you have that super, like, mega burst of barrel roll movement there. Very potent, particularly, of course, if you have your Bond of Vigor to refresh it and get your stamina back immediately. You can go really fast. You actually see that even used in raids, right? Okay, you can see that used in raids a lot there as well, particularly, you know, in the Path of Fire as well. You can get some value out of that too. Here we go. It's going to be another Griffin that's set up here as well, getting towards the end of the run. Just 2 waypoints left and a few point of interests swooping down here. Oh, yeah, I can get a good run there. Actually does land, and we'll probably go for a bit more beetle content. Here we go. Here's the beetle. Good control here by Garvey. Oh, it's going to be a drift. Handles it nicely. Oh, yeah, gets a good bounce. Maintaining that speed. We'll curve round here. There's the charger. Now the boost up top there, yeah. This is a really key component with this beetle. You've got to make sure that if you're going to go up terrain, you've got to be ready for having a boost. Otherwise, you will slow down. Oh, slight bonk there, but, oh, that was pretty sick, actually. Managed to ride over that musical instrument with the beetle, maintaining the speed, powering towards the final POI, and then unlocking the waypoint with a raptor burst, probably into a thief port. I thought it was going to be the Bond of Vigor, but it's going to be a thief port, and there it is. 427. That was a really cool movement there, actually, towards the end with the beetle. Like, that was crazy. Not bonking and not getting slowed down by that musical instrument orchestra thingy. That was pretty sick, actually. You love to see that. You really, really do. Okay. All right, then. So, a solid run to start off in. Big speed, big speed, big speed, big speed. The 427. But there's a lot going on here in Divinity's Reach because our next run steps up to a 407. And it's going to be a very different approach. We may be seeing a total custom route. So far, we only saw custom routes from the first place for these maps, but here we're starting from a different location. Instead of the Lion's Arch portal, we're going in from the Queensdale portal. So it looks like we are going to see a very different approach. Ooh, action cam here, and warrior too, actually. So utilizing that savage leap for mobility instead of the short bow. Very interesting stuff there as well. So instead of going for the thief here, and now let's see what the approach is going to be here. So it's going to be roller beetle and going towards the center, so kind of joining up very quickly. But that waypoint has been unlocked a little bit earlier outside of the map there. Let's see what this is actually going to generate in terms of value. Now kind of getting to that central area next to the Lion's Arch portal, moving in directly there, grabbing all the things within the instances. And then, of course, we'll repeat the same thing for the throne room, then the final POI. Now, what's going to happen after this? Will it merge and join up with the similar pathing that we saw last time? Or are we going to see something a little bit different? Let's find out. Jackling through here as well. Again, fantastic for that burst. And then here we have that waypoint usage going to kick off immediately. Ooh, and it's going to be Griffin play here. This could get very interesting, actually, because we, I think there is definitely potential to really unlock a lot of this stuff here all in one swoop, because you do have a kind of a good amount of, ooh, that's nice. Oh, that's juicy. Oh, is he going to keep the speed? Oh, does actually land there, but still is able to get into immediately another dive. Oh, I'm not sure if that was quite intentional. I think probably wanted to keep that speed there, but gets to the sky scale, gets to this vista very, very efficiently there too. What are we doing next? There's another waypoint. Going to double back and grab this other waypoint by the looks of that, or at least get this vista and then complete the rest of this little segment, little kind of quarter, well, not even quarter, 1/6 of this map. So really going for a lot of teleportation here, actually. Going back to this waypoint again. Ooh, springering up all the way to... I think we're going to see some Griffin stuff here, I believe. Maybe, yep. No, it's just going to be a leap into a glide. Now we see the Griffin come through. Going to yoink that waypoint, and that massive height is going to generate a huge amount of velocity here, because the Griffin, you kind of have two versions of the dive, right? You have like dive number 1 that gives you loads of speed, but you need a little bit of verticality to truly build that momentum. And here we go. You can see a totally different approach, really giving us a fantastic view of the skyline as we go through these maps here. And let's see if this Griffin approach is going to generate a lot of velocity. Ooh, there we go. Nice. Gets through that, through this piece of terrain up top there. Of course, this is one of the things that you actually don't see a lot of people know about the Griffin. You can actually you can keep your height pretty well on the Griffin really well, because you can use the kind of rear up function, right? You know, you basically press backwards, or this, you know, the different key that you can see the key bound there as well, the C key here, to immediately rear up and kind of get back to where you were. So we're actually seeing a very extended segment, and almost like the openness of this map without the ceiling, like no ceiling on this map, being very beneficial actually for this Griffin approach, this Griffin technique that's being used, allowing these long segments to continuously unlock loads of different waypoints, and then of course teleport back to them. Now we see the beetle being used here to open up. Oh, bit of a bonk, actually, but still able to grab this here and recover fairly effectively. It's going to be another teleport here, probably into some more Griffin gameplay. No, it's going to be Springer. Actually, I think it will be Griffin. It's going to be Vista, probably then into a Griffin moment after this there as well. Actually, no, it's going to be Raptor, in fact. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. What can I say? Map completion noob over here. Yeah, this is later approach. Yeah, this is a very waypoint-focused approach, as you can see. Grabbing a lot of those very quickly and then simply using the teleportation, which is even faster than mounts, to get there very, very quickly. I think this kind of technique and approach is really being made possible by the fact that loading screens are being discounted. Because, of course, if you had to deal with loading screens, then this type of approach would obviously get punished a lot more, because you're going to have to actually have that real-time component to it. But thanks to the loading screens being removed, only in-game time actually counting, this is actually big value here, allowing these waypoints to generate a pretty insane amount of value for no real downside for this player. But we're nearly at the end here, actually. We are nearly done. A few more vistas to mop up. In fact, well, I say that, no, that's the last one. Just a few more objectives to collect, and this is going to be the end of that. 3 POIs to go, and I believe that will just about do it here. This should be the final segment of the map there. One more teleportation required just to finish the job. in this final area of Divinity's Reach here, going into this the library area, teleporting. Wow, a lot of teleports going down here, using that savage, just that extra bit of optimization. And here we go. I think we're approaching the final, so we're now griffining to victory here. One more thing, and there we go. 407. So a totally different approach to the first one we saw there. Really utilizing that Griffin to extreme effect there. Very interesting approach with the 407. But I've got to say, can you guys guess who might have yoinked a first place? Can anyone hazard a guess? Because a cinematic path is good. I love me some cinematic paths. But, okay, there's only one thing better than a cinematic path. It is a sub 4-minute run. And once again, it's from Virtual Squirrels. Just actually gatekeeping the speedrunning scene, okay? They're gonna gatekeep me out of full clear world record, and they're here to gatekeep the open world speedrunning contest as well. A 3:56 sub 4 run. Beginning this time, again, the same as Garfried, in fact, from the center of the arena near that Lion's Arch portal. I think almost a little bit of personal preference there, because we see every player kind of zerg to the middle to complete that and then move outwards there again. I think the really big thing here is what is going to be the mount choice. Is it going to be that Griffin again? I suspect it will be. That did seem to be incredibly efficient, again, because of those really open areas, but slightly different pathing is being used here. Beetling out here from the center very, very quickly and going to maintain that momentum all the way to the center. Now, where are we going? Okay, post-processing making this look very, very pretty indeed. Ooh, I may actually have to kind of take this back a little bit. Now we do see the Griffin, but not quite the same thing. Not going for the ultra high level approach. Instead, actually just going to go for a more of a ground level guerrilla tactic style thing here as well. Grabbing that cul-de-sac immediately. It's, as we've seen previously from VS, it's going to be very heavy usage of waypoints. So I think we're going to see a lot of these unlocked pretty early on and then used a lot later on in the run. But it almost is, it's more similar to Garfried's approach, actually, by the looks of this. So instead of kind of using that Springer to gain height and then completing large segments of the map all in one go, it does appear to actually be this more kind of on-the-ground beetle approach. So we aren't going to get quite as good a view. Ah, yeah. Now this is the trademark. Here it is. You can see we actually are going to be unlocking every single one of these kind of hub waypoints before moving on. We might see a bit of a sharp turn, but no, it's going to be an instant portal there. And now I think we're going to see all of the little segments simply unlocked one by one. Ooh, I think that was actually yeah, one thing just grabbed there. Actually, that was maybe a slight mistake there, actually. I think that was supposed to be grabbed last time. It didn't quite connect there for whatever reason. Maybe I'm just blind and maybe the city just looks the same. But there you have it. Another thing locked. And now it's a case of just cleaning up everything, right? All of these central waypoints have been unlocked. So grab all the things in all the little segments of the circle of the city and then just teleport around a lot there, abusing this stuff here as well. Very, very cool stuff here from this player. Just grabbing these vistas, and yeah, massive waypoints. This is going to be even more waypoints than we saw previously. Unlocking all these things very quickly, using that thief teleportation instantaneously, combining that with the beetle, and moving around very, very nicely indeed. Another port coming through here as well. Definitely a mastery of pathing being used here from White Warrior here. Very, very efficient pathing. Systematically attacking all of these vistas. Just about a minute and 20 seconds left in this run. Good evening, Kamina. Welcome to the stream. Here we go. Ooh, and even going onto the ground there. Just squeezing every second of time save out from the ground segments. Using that Thief Shortbow 5 for that teleportation to get the most everything, and then yeah, using the burst movement from the sky scale to continuously unlock all of these points of interest and unlock all of these vistas very, very quickly. And yeah, just a rotary approach, unlocking all of these things. Okay, using the mountains again. A lot of sky scale here being used, you know, like sky scale, beetle, bit of griffin here and there, very varied approach, and even on the ground movement here from the thief. Of course, the thief movement on its own right, just by spamming shortbow 5, is actually very, very quick. can be great for these kind of short-term segments, combining that in there with the Raptor. But yeah, we're almost done at this stage, actually. 322. It's gone red, okay? That's not looking good. But I think we are going to see a fantastic run. 90% done already. Just a few more segments of the map to unlock, and we are going to be job done. Easy peasy, easy game, easy life. There's the teleportation. And here we go. This is pretty much the last waypoint that needs to be done. And we are complete here. Just 10 seconds left to go for that sub 4. Windows 11? No, I'm not Windows 11. Windows 10 for life. But you know what is less than 10? Less than 10 seconds left in this run. Final POI, and there it is, landing on the roof of the Mechanical Orchestra for a 356 run. Wow. And yeah, that is a bit of a funny pose there, right? Still kind of in the mounted pose there as we leap off. They're getting a giga boost towards the end. That is quite remarkable. I mean, that, I think that really does go to show that playing stuff like Dungeons, right? And a lot of the kind of the try-hard PvE stuff, it gives you the brain cells to do this sort of stuff, right? It gives you that mental acuity that you need. What we're seeing here from Whitewire is just very snappy, optimized pathing, being at the right place at the right time, and then you picking the right mount for the job. But certainly a huge amount of these time saves are coming from just a big amount of skill at determining the correct route to move through these locations. And, well, we actually have ourselves another 2 maps to go, of course. We are going to have the Black Citadel, my friends. The Black Citadel is coming up very shortly, but before we actually go to the Black Citadel, we are going to have a look at Hoelbrak. I've been DC'd, but don't worry, we're going back in. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hoelbrak coming up right now, and another contender here returning from earlier on. It's going to be Torren. Expect beetles, and you know what? I am expecting a bit of beetle content here. I think this is one of those maps where you can maybe get value out of those longer stretches of terrain and really speed around some of these corners. It's honestly a really fun map to beetle around in its own right. You know, you kind of have to do it when Dragon Bash is around. You just can't resist when you're in Hoelbrak. And there is even a race there as well. So I'm expecting some very high octane, okay, Eurobeat beetle content here from Hoelbrak. All right, let's leap into it. Okay, and ooh, so we're going to be using a Mimic, so we might actually see some pretty interesting play here from this Mesmer. It's going to be Mimic and Blink coming up, in fact, and then opening up on the Beetle immediately. Let's see how long this lasts. Again, this is a pretty big, sprawling map right off the bat. Get a bit of a, loses a little bit of speed there, kind of bonks off, but still continuing with a lot of good speed, going for the Griffin, and then go, yeah, this place is a bit interesting, actually. Like, how the lodges are going to be handled will be interesting. Oh, are we seeing custom routing here, actually? Wait, yeah, that was a little bit unusual, just grabbing that POI, a bit of difficulty grabbing that thing before moving into the Giant Lodge. Of course, instances will be required here. The home instance is going to require a little bit of movement here. This is where we might see some Blink action. Yep, that's exactly right. We see the Blink come in instantaneously to grab that POI before leaving very, very quickly, and then beginning on with the next segment of the route. Here we go. Another instance needs to be claimed here as well, because we actually do still have Mimic available. Let's see if that actually comes into play, but that POI gets unlocked instantaneously, so no need for any kind of fancy movement, and then goes for the waypoint, actually, because of course you can still use waypoints outside, so instead of actually going for the leave, where you get plonked outside, actually waypoints, a little bit of optimization there. Here is the leap from the mount to this vista. Ooh, are we actually going to see a slight variant in routing? I don't think we are. I think it's simply a more efficient approach. Yeah, using the Griffin to grab that instead of climbing over that terrain. That's a slight variant and improvement on the original path set out by these markers here. Going through here with the Griffin, there's going to be another waypoint there, of course, directly over here, and here comes the Beetle. Here we go. Beetle content is enabled. Here comes the spin. I don't know as well. The Beetle having a little bit of trouble there with actually coming. Can we actually make the quality on this better? Okay, like what the hell's going on here? Okay, I don't know what's up with my YouTube, man? There we go. Okay, the bit rate, man. I can count the pixels on my finger right now. You hate to see it, you really do. But here we go. This is of course actually part of the race, actually, I believe. So the Beetle definitely putting in the work in this specific location. They're going for that big pace, big energy, a boost now being used to recover from a slight speed loss in this particular situation. Here we go. There's going to be a waypoint maneuver here as well. Yep, already panning the minimap to grab the Legends waypoint to move over to the next location. This run is going to be a 4:10, so another pretty lengthy stint here actually on the city. It is certainly a big, sprawling, expansive one, not as compact as something like the Grove. So there's a lot of meat, a lot of ground to cover, right? There's a lot of distance to move here. So that's where you can actually get a lot of good time saves simply on the amount of movement that you actually have to do here. Here we go. There is the speed. The mods are indeed asleep, guys, okay? Look, okay, they're too fixated on watching the speedrun. They're not asleep. They're just completely transfixed by all this Beetle content. Waypoints with the Beetle immediately goes into a booster. Yeah, a lot of players would blow their boost early there, but that can actually get punished very hard. In fact, ooh, slips off, but is able to quickly recover there by grabbing back onto that Sky Scale, going quickly to the Griffin. We're going to see a big boost here on the Griffin towards the next location. Going to fly directly into this lodge here, grabbing that POI quite nicely, and then it's going to be a waypoint play over to that ice segment here on the far west of the map. Yep, here we go. Oh, I think we're going to see the Beetle open up here, that's for sure. Here we go. And here comes the drift, and I think we just see this basically... Ooh, oh no! Ah, that's a little unfortunate there. Wanted to try and get that drift swing directly over there, I believe, but unfortunately it didn't quite connect. Now is going to waypoint over here. Very, very nice indeed. Mounts up yet again. We'll go for a boost quickly here, I imagine. Ooh, goes a little wide, but that's all right. Able to recover that and steer. Keep this Beetle under control. Get some wicked steers in the chat right now. And here we have one of the final segments. One more waypoint trip to go. A lot of waypointing going on here early on. I can only imagine how insane it's going to get in some of the later runs after this. Here we go. 88% to go. One more thing here. Here we go. Big gaming is about to kick in. There's the Vista. I think this is going to be the final corner required to actually fully unlock this map. POI and a few more corners here. The Griffin being utilized effectively. We might see... Oh, yeah. A little bit of an early turn there. Not able to grab that. Has to mount up and... sorry, have to go back and blink towards that thing. Oh, no. The mount actually gets dismounted there as well. A little bit unfortunate. And here is the final segment there of Stone Rights. Steading for the final unlock, I believe, of this map. No mounts here available. And I think the idea was to probably save that blink for here to get there, but unfortunately that is not going to happen actually quite yet. And there you go. That is going to be the map complete. Of course, it will actually finish there, but you won't get the chest until you go back to the map because of the way. That's a bit of a little quirk of how it actually operates there. But there you go. A 4:10. Who is going to beat that? Well, okay. It's a big run coming up here. A significant improvement of 30 seconds, in fact, coming through from Garfried. Of course, another Beetle racer, just like the predecessor in this run of Torren. Here we go. Let's see, where is the times are going to be? I think we actually may see a fairly similar approach. Ooh, coming in insta from the Armistice Bash and teleporting in. Going to be a fairly similar kind of starting location here. Here we go. It's going to be that Shadow Step there and the Beetle to start off. Here we go. Oh. Making sure to get in the exact right position, and then that is going to be the starting gun. However, deviating from the path this time. It's going to be a very different route, almost going backwards, right? It's almost like the backwards route here at this stage. You can see here the arrow is actually pointing the other direction to the path Garfried is taking. He does not need the route. He, in fact, deliberately disregards the route. Okay, look at the speed, the boost. Yeah, Garfried utilizing this Beetle. I think he may have actually designed a route specifically to abuse this, and that's no surprise here. This is certainly one of the areas of expertise that Garfried absolutely has, is using this Beetle very, very nicely. Portals coming through here as well from the Thief. Looks like another Beetle segment coming up here as well, but that was a great opening there from Garfried. It's going to be another waypoint here to get back there, over to the other side of the map there. You can see how many waypoints there are. There's the arrow waypoint. Now we're almost back on the route, rejoining it, but that opener there, certainly highly efficient, trying to chain together multiple segments in a way that will optimize the usage of that Beetle. That can certainly be powerful there. That was a big start there. Yeah, look, we're coming up to the 112 right now, and honestly, Garfried is never going to see a 112. One of the reasons why he's never seeing a 112 is because a 112 112 is honestly not possible on Hoelbrak. This is actually going to be a 341, my friends, okay? A 341 is going to be the name of the game on this particular matchup. If someone wants a song request, Eurobeat, by the way, I will play it, right? I will play Eurobeat if you want to request it, okay? Go ahead. I'll do it. I just, you know, I don't really have any, I don't have any on hand, okay? It's not there. But look at these lines. Look at the fucking line. Look at the pace so far. Okay, there's you in the video. Dude, let's crank it up. Here we go. Nice. Fuck. Hang on, bear with me. Right, let's crank up the Eurobeat. Wait, I just closed it. Wait, no! Oh, no, I ruined it. Great. Oh, I'm a professional streamer, by the way, guys. I know what I'm doing. Right, I know what's going on. Right, we're going back in. Here we go. Back to C+. Eurobeat is cranking right now. Back in about the same location here. Boom! Into the Griffin segment here. Into the pace. Big swing here, yeah. Maintaining that height. Very difficult not to land here. Nice little micro jumps into the waypoint there. Big crash down with the Griffin. Back to that X weapon. Into another Beetle segment here from Garfred. Here he goes. Ooh, big drift coming round there. Holds that line nicely. Maintains that speed. Gets nearly enough energy for a boost coming up shortly. Here's the big boost. And yeah, Garfred really playing to his strengths here. Opening up that pace with a massive turbo boost with the Beetle. Leaping him has another boost available for this turn here as well. Here it's going to pop off. He gets bonked by the chairs there. The chair's like not very convenient. But the boost is available there for the speed. Here we go. Big intelligent usage of this Beetle here by Garfred into the portal here. Of course, nearly done now. I just about a minute left to go in this round. A minute and 30 seconds. And again, another Beetle segment here. Lands it and gets the landing. Oh, no! Doesn't quite get the landing, actually. Has to glide back. Very minor time loss there. Into the Griffin. Will be another waypoint after this. After this waypoint, it's probably going to be more Griffin content. Sorry, more Beetle content, rather. Bit of Thief, then directly into this Beetle. Here we go. Here's the Zerg. Here's the pace. Few things to unlock in it. POI over there. Going to port that and then Shadow Step back. Nice. Very nice. There's the Beetle, of course. This will be waypointed into a direct boost here. Going to delay that boost again. Are we going to see the landing get stuck here? Because here we go. Yes, we are. Nice control there by Garfred. A lot easier said than done with that. Can be very finicky and very bouncy, actually. The Beetle is very bouncy, guys. Okay, if you hit things, you will kind of like, you know, be all over the place. That's pretty wild, guys. Okay, there is a Raptor leap into another waypoint. Approaching the final stages of this run. Just 30 seconds left here. Using Radial, actually, to climb up here very quickly. Oh, overshoots the Vista a little bit, but able to quickly back up and remanage that and hold on to that lead there very effectively, very, very nicely. Good stuff here. Rapturing forwards. Maybe one last Beetle segment coming up in a moment here as we get to, of course, that instant segment that actually finished the job, although not required. It's going to actually be all the way to the end. It's going to be the Raptor leaping into the instance, and then boom, one final teleportation from Thief. Could be a Shadow Step here, I believe. Here we go, and then maybe a short bow 5, and then bam, done. Nice. Yeah, that was actually very impressive. That was a sick run, actually. Yeah, really showing you that the Beetle can put in a lot of work, and very exciting to see a totally different approach, actually, to the first run. But, I mean, I've got to say this. Okay. Chat, break out your Peepo baguettes. Break out. Frenchga in the chat. Get me a Frenchga in the chat right now. Because here he is again. Raids are dead. Dungeons dead. Fractals dead. Every form of PvE content dead. The only thing left is open world speedrunning. And that's right. Okay, White Warrant is back again with a 3:36 run. Okay, again, he's going to be starting from the portal from Lion's Arch by the looks of this. Let's see if it's going to be a different approach. Opening completely differently, actually, here. Immediately going for a big thief thing into a beetle race here. Kind of going the opposite direction that we saw Garfield, but he's going to turn around instantaneously, go for the Griffin, unlock these things inside this structure here, I imagine. Here we go. Ragnar, God Splitter standing firm. Instances will now be very quickly grabbed here by the Frenchman. Here we go. I think there's actually no music on this one, guys. There's no music in this stuff. It's cold, hard speedrunning. That's the entire thing. But here we go. We're now back into the main map. A few more things near this tooth need to be grabbed directly into this other instance here as well for the lodge here. Here we go. Going in directly into this and can then immediately waypoint away there. Common usage that we saw all of our runners actually go for that, because you can do that instead of being plonked outside, just directly waypoint over there. And it's going to be beetles here. Let's see if it will continue to be in this direction. It's very curious. All three of our runners actually picked different approaches, but here we go. It's going to be the trademark waypointing here being used, and it does seem to be a very, very effective approach here that is certainly saving the virtual squirrel a huge amount of time in all of his runs, actually. But bear in mind, this is unbelievably close, actually. This is a really, really close matchup here, because, of course, Garfried actually was able to grab himself a 341, whereas this is going to be a 336 run. So there's actually not a lot in it between these two players, so very minor optimizations separating them here. So far, I've got to say, extremely clean usage here of all of these maps. I haven't really even seen a single bonk or a single slowdown in terms of the controller. So very good control and master of these abilities. This is a difficult segment here. Let's see if he's able to avoid all of the chairs that can be very difficult to do here. So far, we are actually seeing some good evasion here. Slightly different approach. Almost avoids the necessity of dodging the chairs, as we see him simply walk over towards and then going to mount up again with the beetle. Dodging those chairs, going for a boost here to regain that speed instantaneously, going for that mega pace. Yes, this is the future of competitive Guild Wars 2. PvP is pure necromancers. But here, well, I mean, it's Thief, so not much of an upgrade, but it's not Necromancer Blam, so you can have some fun here as well. Open world mount speedrunning has arrived. The content is here. More waypoint usage here again. Of course, loading screen is not being triggered from so nearby. Here's going to be the landing here. Let's see if we see a clean landing. Yep, good stuff there as well. Maybe not quite as clean as Garfrey, but certainly in that same vein of efficiency when handling that uphill climb on the beetle. That, by the way, guys, is honestly really hard to do, okay? Maybe I'm just a noob, but whenever I try and do something like that, my beetle just bounces and goes really high in the air, and I'm really sad. That's a very, very impressive trick to be able to manage its speed while climbing up an objective. Now we're going to see this big kind of loop around this ice field area using the beetle. Could be a waypoint directly after this, I believe. Let's stay tuned for that. Yep, it is going to be waypoint. Already on 83% though, map completion. Waypoint into another beetle burst. Gets the drift, hits those kegs a bit, but does maintain the speed and goes directly back into another massive boost to almost finish the job here. One more portal over there, I believe, to the instance. Looks like that is going to be the finale location for all of these things, guys. It really, really is. Here we go. The final loop for these gamers is about to kick in. There we go. There it is. Ah, nice. Using that position rewinder there as well. Getting back in there and then finally going up to the final segment, completing this. And of course, we're going to see some more thief teleportation coming in very, very shortly. Here we go. Boom. Boom. Although actually this is not the end. There's actually going to be one more thing to grab with the waypoint. 5 seconds left in this run. So it's going to be the penultimate POI instead of the final one. And the final is going to be this Vista, I presume. And there we go. Very, very nice indeed. Hell yeah. Okay. Wow. Another victory being secured by the virtual squirrels, and just again a different route, and just honestly very well optimized control, I think, on all those mounts. So that was just extremely clean. I would say that the route that Garfried and Warren actually picked here, very similar. Well, sort of not similar, but similar in terms of efficiency and speed. Just simply very, very tight execution right here from the virtual squirrels member. Impressive stuff. And that is going to be another first place lockdown for White War out there. Impressive stuff. Team at content persona survey. I don't have any persona, Dr. Koss. Not, you know, there's no persona in anything that I do, you know, ever. it's just me, right? You know, like I know that maybe you can't possibly imagine being, you know, interested in other people doing interesting things that don't, you know, necessarily like occupy like a massive amount of my life. But I actually really like watching competent people doing interesting things, you know, no matter if it's directly within my sphere of influence there whatsoever. Don't ever accuse me of not being genuine ever again, by the way. But there it is. Feels good, man. Okay, now we are going to enter the final map, and this is going to be the weirdest map, I think, actually. The least usual map, I believe. It is going to be. Okay, gamers. Request songs, by the way. Get me some energy here, because we're going to need it for the Black Citadel. We really, really are. Get ready for the Black Citadel map completion, the finale, the final 3 victors claiming 2,000 gold, okay, between all 3 of them for this map completion. First up, our first contestant we saw all the way back at the start of the contest, okay, with Rata Sum. It's going to be Manigold opening it up with a 426. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Ooh, immediately in and starting from a high position to utilize this Griffin momentum and Griffin speed. Let's see how this one goes. We're going to get some big speed here. Going to crash land onto that Vista and then waypoint back by the looks of this. Using the route ordained by Taco here with good execution. A 420 run. That's exactly right, guys. Or rather, a 426 run. Now, I think we might see some significant differences in pathing here between some of these players. Ooh, bit of a bonk there. Simply because this map is wild, man, okay? This map is weird. It really is. It really, really is. It's fantastic stuff, okay? There's a lot of winding passageways, weird terrain to climb over, and plenty of things to hit into. And I imagine some very creative routing opportunities for these players to engage in. I imagine waypointing will actually be very important here. And that's something we're certainly going to see. I think you can probably guess who we're going to be seeing a little bit later on, guys, towards the end of the entire actual, you know, kind of results thing here as well. The video is too dark. I think it's just post-processing on, and it's nighttime in the game, right? It's that beautiful, dark, okay, spooky atmosphere. Perfect with a terrifying Black Citadel speedrun. Goes wide with the Griffin there. Goes for the biggest. Dodges the railing to maintain speed. And then lands that booster as well. We'll get this waypoint. Effectively goes for a big drift. Ooh. Does unfortunately lose some lead. Oh, and goes for the mount skill there before going over some terrain here with the sky scale leaping over that very, very quickly. Grabbing that POI. Oh, is going to have to actually descend because a little bit too high there. Can certainly see a few things creeping in that we might see our next contenders actually be able to squash somewhat effectively. Straying away from the route here too will actually result in a slight backtrack here, I believe. But the portable, the position rewinder is going to alleviate that a little bit. Oh, it's actually not going to get used there, unfortunately. So not really getting value out of that in this particular instance. Does get the Beetle back up and running, though. Grabs that POI very, very effectively. Then we're now going to move over here once again. Speed gaming, indeed. Speed gaming, speed content, reshade content. Ah, yes. Reshade is for those who think the game does not have enough particle effects, not enough bloom, so they want to add even more, right? I mean, look, hey. It's crazy stuff, guys, but some people, they're into that stuff. Snags that, waypoint there, we'll probably see that get used a little bit. Ooh, a little bit of a narrow corridor movement here from that Beetle. Tricky to navigate that for sure. There are all these railings, all this mechanical architecture of the Black Citadel proving to be difficult to navigate. A bit of a weird glitch there with the raptor skin. No idea what happened there, but there you go. Now going to take these portals. Yeah, there's also this kind of slightly unusual area, almost outside the Black Citadel, that we're going to see these players actually complete too. Kind of like the ruins of Ascalon, actually, that looks like to be maybe the final segment of this particular run or this particular route being unlocked there. So we'll see how that gets handled there too. Oh, did the sky scale trying to grab onto that railing. A little bit annoying to deal with that. They're not exactly ideal whatsoever. Okay, but there it is, and here we are, and we are now out into this kind of like a courtyard area of the Black Citadel outside the city itself into these Ascalonian ruins. Here we go. There's a vista up top there. We're about 75% of the way through this run. Good opportunity for the Griffin here, of course. We're going to see a bit of a dive. Yep, here we go. Up top and then into that dive. There we go. Big smash. Easy game, easy life. And there we go. Now, moving over to the second segment here, waypointing back, the square one rather, or the heart one actually, being chosen there, and looks like the final segment is actually going to be this kind of, it's going to be this core, right, yeah. There are two instances right in the center of the Black Citadel, right, that are a little bit weird to actually find. The Stockade and, like, the Command Core or something like that, and I think that is going to be the actual grand finale of this map, which, oh, actually, no, never mind, it's just going to be the Stockade. I guess the Command Core doesn't actually have one. Actually, no, mind, I lied. There is still more to go. And yeah, you climb up here there as well. Oh, doesn't quite get the sky scale movement there. One more waypoint to grab there. Ports up to immediately to the Imperator's waypoint. Grabbing this POI. Oh, here's the thing. You can get it through the window. Dude, that's pretty cool, actually. I actually thought you had to go in there to get that. But yeah, they actually grab it by hugging the wall there and grabbing that waypoint. They're very, very cool stuff. I love to see that, gamers, okay? I love to see it. Few more point of interest. And here's the final one. Boom! There it is, the war counter room there. Yeah, that was a very neat little segment there, bouncing between those things there. Very cool stuff. I love to see it. I really do. All the race guys have the same taste in music? Well, of course. Listen, you can't have a Beatle without the Eurobeat, man. It's simple as that. You need that Eurobeat. So, next up. Okay. It's a 4:01 run from a Tauren Blazewing. It's going to be here. Definitely, overall, a decent time. My least favorite sea out of the bunch. Unlucky. Awful to speedrun. Ooh, interesting. Grove, second worst. How about that? All right, then. I think we're going to see a quick reset here. I imagine on the split. Yeah, I just triggered that by accident, and we're going to get started very shortly. Again, a different starting location. I believe. Actually, wait, no, it's not. I lied. Okay. So it looks like a similar... Actually, wait, no, this is actually a completely different route, actually. A totally different route being used, I believe, by this here. Wait, can I fix that? What is that? 720p? This is not Blade 2005, YouTube. Hello. Thank you. It's just disrespecting my internet connection, man. Holy shit. Unbelievable. Yeah, Black Citadel, definitely a really tough one to handle. Like, one of the really tricky ones to actually move around, I think. Not really suited to speedrunning. So yeah, you might see a little bit less grinding on this one, because it's just a little bit more annoying to deal with there. A little bit of a slip on the Beetle. Going directly into the Rapt here, circling around. We'll be climbing up top instantaneously there with that sky scale to that vista right away. See what it's called? Yeah, it's Charpunk, okay? Cat Punk. Beetle usage coming up in a little bit. No surprise from the race members. Oh, man. Yeah, that did not... I don't think that quite worked as intended. A little bit of a sticking point there. Going over to this waypoint section there. Yeah, so slightly unoptimized pathing there, but just these little objects are just very easy to get stuck to and get trolled. Teleporting up to that waypoint, grabbing that for later. I'm sure plenty of things to unlock in that particular segment of this map. Yeah, you can see the difficulty here with this map in particular is that it's difficult to get like a clean run. You can see Tauren trying to get value out of the Beetle here, right? And trying to get some value out of these long straights, but you don't really have the opportunity to do this. Okay, and you know, the moment that you actually start getting going, you have to stop and change to another mount or simply dismount entirely because of these little twisty-turny segments on the map itself. We're going to see into it. Oh, nice. Mid-sky scale mount, grabbing the POI, will go down again. And, oh, yeah, I mean, look, I hate to use the word clunky here, guys, but you can almost see the clunkiness of the map kicking in here, right? It's just so much turning and reversing that really does make it difficult to handle it. Because bear in mind, all the mounts have a turning circle, right? You can't just like spin on a point like you can with your character, right? And that does make it a little bit difficult to navigate in these very kind of enclosed segments. Oh, picking them out there, Beetle, Griffin, then Griffin again. Or then the Beetle again here. Finally gets a good segment of drift. Oh, but doesn't quite get that corner. Really hard to get that on the Beetle. We'll need some incredibly precision timing to successfully secure that, I would say. Ports back there again. And there we go. instantaneously going for the Jackal here. I think if any mount can get value here, it's going to be that Jackal. Like, great for these slightly quicker turning moments here, slightly bursty movement sections like that, and the Sky Scale can provide a lot of value here, I think, here. 2 minutes into the run, 70% map completed, but you can just see this is a really hard map to actually get around here as well. I think even the Frenchies might have difficulty with dealing with this one, guys. Now going out to the external location here, grabbing some final waypoints here. Might be a Sky Skull again. Yep, up we go. We're going to climb up there. There's a vista. Then it's going to be Griffin content over to the final segment of the zone. Here we go. Very nice indeed. Okay. Big speed there. Oh, the tree is a threat. Doesn't matter, though, because the waypoint's going to get used anyway. And here we go. Now we climb up to the final central core, the iron heart of the Black Citadel there. Into the stockade, a giant door rendering on the screen. Thanks to Taco, love to see that, guys. Very nice indeed. Leaves immediately, 30 seconds left on the clock. Very narrowly missing this sub 4, actually. I wonder if anyone is going to be able to provide that sub 4, guys. That's the really big question to me, guys. Will anyone get a sub 4? Well, I don't know. A little cheeky skip there with that waypoint to the final segment. Then we're going to do some bouncing off these windows to quickly grab these waypoints and then finish off the run in 10 seconds. 94%. There we go. Continually moving on here, and there we go. There's one more over there. Ah, nice. Using that range of influence to grab that while still being on the mount and finishing it in a 4:01. Oh, must have been a bit of a bummer not to get the sub 4 there, right? 4:01. Definitely not where you want to be, but a very commendable run there. Some clean execution and solid routing through a very complicated map to navigate. But, well, I wonder who could be up next, gamers. It's going to be the final run, not only of the Black Citadel, but of the entire contest in general. That's right. One more run here. Yep, get him going, guys. Get the Frenchka in the chat. Because here we go. In an absolutely insane, blistering fast 3:31. 3:31. Not just a sub 4. An insane sub 4 with a 3:31 time. It is, of course, the White Warrant here from Virtual Squirrels. The Frenchman wins every single map of the contest. He farms all of it. He doesn't even need map hacks, guys, or speed hacks. Zach would lose this guy 16 map points or 30 map... Wait, what was it? 29 map points in 60 seconds. It's not enough to defeat the Virtual Squirrels. Here we go. It's going to be a little bit of a warm-up here before we actually get on the run in earnest. But here we go, starting in that same place, immediately going for the Griffin dive, going back. And let's see if we see a custom route. I imagine we will see some custom routing here. We've seen that on every single map from the VS Gamer here, actually, instead of relying on the route. And yeah, we already see a little bit of a change here, I believe. I think we saw some beetle action in these segments here, but this time it's not going to be that case. Preferring to use the slightly more agile mount here of the Raptor and leaping around it, grabbing these waypoints here. And this is by now something we're all very familiar with. I think we're going to see that again here, grabbing a lot of waypoints, although I think you actually can't get as much value out of teleporting around here on this map. I think we haven't seen a crazy amount of waypointing here because it appears that a lot of the things you want to unlock are actually centralized around the waypoints themselves. So it kind of makes sense to grab them while you're there. We do see now a teleportation moving over here to the center of the arena, grabbing this waypoint and then waypoint again. So I don't know, guys, why do I even bother making calls, okay? I don't know why I do this. I've immediately been cursed because we already see a huge cluster of teleportation being used here to speed up this process, kind of grabbing the central loop, the hub of waypoints, a bit like Divinity's Reach. Here we go. Not even going to try and go for the beetle here, just goes, yeah, dismounts. That does seem to be the approach. All of our other runners did have a bit of difficulty with that transition there, getting to this vista. And just dropping the beetle, or rather dropping the mat, and then going directly for the Sky Scale. Definitely a time save there for sure. Very efficient play here as well. Goes for that beetle, grabs that endurance back there from the Griffin. Rewinder being used here, or about to be used in an upcoming segment. Let's see what happens there. So here we go, or maybe not actually used though. Temporarily thought about being used. Very clean so far, and I think that's just the case. There's the rewinder, and yeah, this is what I believe this was actually attempted by the other players too. But here we're going to see a lot of using it a lot earlier than both of our previous players. And there's the port. Wow, that is clean. That is dirty, right? That is disgusting. So clean from this. You'd think he'd been grinding this for years, right, with the efficiency. We haven't really seen any major terrain bonks. Yeah, he equipped it early on the mount because, of course, you can actually equip items and objects while you're on your mount. It will stay equipped, so you don't have to worry about it later and kind of mess around with your inventory. Equips it early, uses it early, ports back then. Oh, a slight bonk there as he leaps through this terrain using the Raptor. But still very clean. And then ports back with a shadow. Oh my god. What are we watching? This is huge. We're seeing it goes for the ruins now. Again, a slightly different route we've seen so far. But that little Raptor leap through there with the Thief Shadow Step. This is just so well done here, actually. That very clean, extremely clean from Whitewire here into this Griffin segment, as we've seen our previous runners go for. Into another waypoint, using those waypoints effectively as that big cluster of waypoints in the final segment here as well. Actually, we're going to see this. We're going to see him go for them now. Actually, a little bit earlier. Here comes the prison there going into the stockades. Just 30 seconds left on the clock on this run. Actually, we are very, very close. This is absolute beast mode here from Whitewire. Here, we'll climb up into the final segment. It's 4 POIs and this waypoint, and this is going to be it. Sky scales up there. Then there's the Imperator skip there as well with that port directly into the house bounce here, bounces off one wall, goes hither and thither to the other one, can maybe go for a sky scale boost. There it is, the boost into the Bond of Faith, and it's just 2 more point of interest to go here. 1 central here. We're going to see it picked up very, very shortly. I'm going to have to fly around a little bit, grabs it, and then we'll descend for the final one over there, and there it is. A 331. I think the only thing that didn't go to plan was, or maybe not quite to plan, was this little Raptor leap. Everything else was like borderline flawless in that entire run. On a map this hard to pull off, that is remarkable, I've got to say. Yeah, it goes to show you that if there is, this was like the only thing that maybe didn't quite go right, hitting into that tree. Could have been maybe, I guess, a little bit to the left there to get that leap. But still, that was a look at that. That is disgusting. I've got to say, that is got to be one of the cutest moments of the entire run here, actually. Like, using this shadow step to get back there. Very, very nice here, guys. You love to see that. You really do. Okay, shadow step over there. Grab that POI, then go back. And then port over there. So look at that segment. That was very nice here. And use of the thief mechanics to make that work. And that is going to be the contest. And well, we can very briefly actually look at the results of this actually here. If we go to the results thing here, to the map completion speedrunning, you can actually see that if we go here, yeah, it is going to be the 5 first places from Whitewire here, actually. Very, very impressive there. Rank 1, rank 1, rank 1, rank 1, and a rank 1. You can see we actually did have a good amount of entrants here as well. We can see, we'll just have a brief overview of these entrants that we see here. We had everything ranging from a 4:57 on LA down to a 9:22. We have a Rata Sum. We had 8 entrants. Here again, 2 minutes to a 6:57. The Grove, 1:55 to a 4:16. 10 entrants there. A popular one. In fact, you love to see that. Divinity's Reach. Again, we have 7 entrants here as well. Hoelbrak, 8 again there as well. And of course, finally, the Black Citadel with 7. Actually surprising that, we actually see a lot of the same players competing in all of them. And actually are really sticking out and getting the job done there. But very, very impressive stuff there from all of these runners. Of course, there are all videos of these guys. So if you want to go check out the other runs, I'd highly recommend taking a look at the speedrun.com. There's actually a lot of other stuff here, not just map completion, of course. You can even take a look at the full map. Oh, no, what a marathon! Oh my goodness. 9 hour, the sub 9 hour from, of course, the organizer of this fantastic event himself. It is going to be Zotma there with an 8:59 for full map completion. But there's more than that. You can see raids here as well. And hey, look, what is this, guys? Can we have a look at a full clear? Oh, look at that. There it is. The 204 from the gamers here. You love to see it. You really, really do. But there's plenty of really interesting things here you can see. You can see boss speed clears. You can see individual skill clears here. You can see raid clears, right? All sorts of really exciting things. And just the peak pinnacle of Guild Wars 2 speed gaming and speed competition. So once again, big congratulations to our winners. Each city had a bounty of around 2,000 gold, basically 1.8k gold per thing is actually up there as a bounty. And of course, a big shout out there to Zotma for organizing, promoting, and setting up the entire thing there as well. So get me a clap in the chat and maybe one more Frenchga for the absolute devastation, okay, of the speedrunning map completions out there as well, okay?